Welcome everyone! In this video, we are going to be diving into all of the new changes coming with Pokemon Go Battle League Season 12. So, holy smokes, this is a massive update that are coming in Season 12 of Pokemon Go Battle League, and I'm going to say it is much welcome, guys. We finally got move updates! It's been 2 whole seasons since we've had any sort of move updates. And I gotta say, things were getting a little stale, guys, without those move updates. And we finally have them with Season 12, which begins this coming Thursday, tomorrow, at the time of recording this video at 1 p.m. Gonna be very fun. We've got some new cups coming down the pipe here. Psychic Cup, Weather Cup, they're bringing back Ultra Premier Classic and Master Premier Classic, which is always very much welcomed. And we've got some new cups, Evolution Cup, which will be very interesting. That is second stage Pokemon only. That'll be very fun. Willpower Cup, very interesting. Sort of gives me Fossil Cup type vibes in terms of being a very limited meta. So we've got new cups coming. Go Battle Days are returning. Nothing too spectacular with those, but I will say that the first one will be featuring Master League and Master Premier Classic. So do with that what you will. I would say if nothing else, definitely just try and get the time to research out of the way, because they're giving us an Elite Charge TM, so those are becoming more and more available, not so much behind a paywall. And the second Go Battle Day will be featuring Miltank, which is going to be getting some updates. We'll dive into that in just a little bit. And that will feature the Ultra League and the Willpower Cup. And we've got the same rewards as previous seasons. Not much has changed there. New cups, Little Jungle Cup. They are going to do the Remix Edition, where they're banning Ducklet, Cottony, and Skorupi. That's always much welcomed. And a brand new cup, Evolution Cup. So this one it'll be at the Great League format, and only middle stage Pokemon are allowed. So think Ivysaur, think Wartortle, think Charmeleon, Pokemon like that. So second stage Pokemon. Psychic Cup, another mono-type cup, similar to the Flying Cup and the Fighting Cup. We've got the Psychic Cup for Season 12. No, I'm not a big fan of those mono-type cups, to be honest, guys. But we've got one in the form of Psychic Cup, so that'll be fun for those of us who don't mind those. Weather Cup, very interesting. New cup. It's not going to be in the Great League format, guys. It's going to take place at the Ultra League format. And it only allows fire, water, ice, and rock types. So very similar to like the Element Cup. Sort of has that sort of feel to it. Halloween Cup is making its much anticipated and much appreciated return. We're going to have one for the Great League, and we're going to have the Ultra League Edition, which is very funny because not much is going to change for the Ultra League Edition, guys. These typings are already the primary typings that everyone uses for top tier meta in the Ultra League. So I find that quite funny and amusing that the Halloween Cup Ultra League Edition is basically just going to be the Open Ultra League. So I found that to be sort of funny. And we got another new cup. It comes in the form of the Willpower Cup, another very, very limited meta. They are banning Gardevoir, of course, because it has access to Charm, which basically lays waste to 2/3 of this cup. But, they did ban Gardevoir, but that's not the only Psychic type that has access to Charm, my friends. Gallade also has access to Charm. Wobbuffet has access to Charm. Gothitelle does. So if they were going to ban Gardevoir, they should have banned the other ones as well, because those do have Charm and they will be eligible. So it'll be interesting if they pick up on that and add those changes in down the line. We've got an Element Cup remix. Finally, going to be banning the OP Cottony and Ducklet, of course, and Salandit. So that'll be interesting. And then we're rounding off the season with another Catch Cup. Yay, another Catch Cup. But they're forcing our hand, guys. We might have to actually participate in this one or take the week off because it's coming alongside the Open Master League. So they're kind of forcing our hand there. Sneaky Niantic. You love to see it. But here we go, guys, the fun stuff. We got 2 new attacks coming with Season 12 of Go Battle League. This is so exciting. We've got a new move here, Double Kick. Both of these new moves are going to be fast moves. Double Kick is the first one. It's going to be a 3-turn move. It's going to do 8 damage and generate 12 energy. So this is very interesting. I am very excited for this move because it's going to have, it draws some similarities to moves like Bullet Seed and Snarl. The only difference, of course, is it's fighting type damage, but it's going to be doing more damage. If we have a look at PvPoke here quickly, if we look at Snarl, it currently does 5 damage, generates 13 energy, and has a energy per turn of 4.33. If we hop up here to Double Kick, we're going to see some very striking similarities, and most notably in the EPT, that's energy per turn. It's not far off from Snarl, guys. It's slightly less at 4, whereas Snarl and Bullet Seed are 4.33. But the big difference is it's doing more damage. That's going to really come in handy for those situations where you really need to farm something down to either win the game or have some loaded energy for whatever comes back in. Having more damage is going to allow us to achieve that. So very exciting new move here. And they gave it to a lot of Pokemon, which is going to just basically be a game changer for those Pokemon that are now getting it. It's going to take them from being unplayable to having some viability now, and that's really nice. And the same goes for Fairy Wind. We don't need to dive too deeply into that one. Basically, all you really need to know about Fairy Wind, of course, it does fairy type damage, and it is a clone of Mudshot and Psycho Cut, Thundershock. It's the same damage and energy generation as Mudshot. So those of us, familiar with Swampert, Mudshot, Mewtwo, Psycho Cut, it's the same pacing profile, but with fairy type damage. So very much welcomed for those of us who aren't interested in just tapping the screen and obliterating everything in our path. Those of us who enjoy, getting into the tactics, having to actually worry about your opponent's shields, something like Fairy Wind is much welcomed. I really appreciate that, and I'm very excited for it. And we've got some nerfs. The much anticipated, much expected nerfs are coming down the pipe for Registeel and Walrein. Oh, man. I didn't think that it was necessary, but there were a lot of us out there that were, really letting it be known that they wanted it and they wanted it to happen and that it needed to happen. So Niantic has acquiesced, and here we are, guys. Registeel's getting a nerf. Zap Cannon will no longer have a guaranteed chance to lower your opponent's attack. My guess is that they're going to lower it to a 50% chance. I think that's fair. That's a nice compromise rather than guaranteed. Just have it be a 50-50 shot. I think that's the fairest. We don't know just yet, of course, as the data mine on those have not yet come out. So that remains to be seen. But if I had to make an educated guess, I would say 50% chance on that. And for Walreign's also going to get a nerf. They're going to be increasing the energy cost of Icicle Sphere. So as it stands, the energy cost now is 35 energy cost. So it's basically a Body Slam clone, does 60 damage and costs 35 energy. I would imagine, if I had to make an educated guess, that they're going to increase that by 5 to 40. So it will no longer be a Body Slam clone. It's now going to be a Surf clone. So not too bad. I think this is just speculation, my educated guess If they go any higher than 40, I think that would be a little bit extreme. I think a slight nerf, like, going from 35 to 5 will be reasonable for Walrein. So, but that remains to be seen. We don't know just yet. We will definitely know when the new season drops. But those are my educated guesses on the nerfs for those two Pokemon. And they're also going to be nerfing Rollout, and that's because more Pokemon are getting access to Rollout, most notably Miltank and Dunsparce. So they had to lower the energy generation a little bit. I would imagine it's going to go from 14 to 13. Again, my educated guess, my speculation. But the reason why they had to do that is just because Miltank has access to Body Slam, so you gotta lower the energy generation a little bit. I would suspect that it would have a similar play style to a Pokemon like Greedent. If you're familiar with Greedent, it's already super spammy with Bullet Seed. If they lower it from 14 to 13, it'll have a similar profile to Greedent. And they are buffing Ancient Power, which is really nice to see. They're going to be raising the damage from 45 to 60, which I think is really nice. But they're also going to be lowering the buff that you get from it, because that buff was just insanely out of balance. It had a chance. Once you get that Ancient Power Ominous Wind boost, it's basically game over in most circumstances. So lowering that, I would imagine they're going to lower it, of course, from sharply raising to only raising it, which basically, it'll go from raising it by 2 stages to 1 stage, which I think is nice. I think that's a nice compromise and very much appreciated. So it'll have a similar profile to a move like Icy Wind, because as of now, Ancient Power costs 45 energy and they're going to raise it to 60 damage. That's basically a similar dynamic to Icy Wind. Of course, it's not a carbon copy of it, but a similar profile to a move like Icy Wind. So think about that with these updates. So Ominous Wind and Silver Wind, for those of you who are unaware, are clones. These are all clones of each other. They somehow didn't raise the damage on Ominous Wind. I don't know why they didn't do that. Would have been nice. Would have made some Pokemon that have access to Ominous Wind a little bit more viable. I don't know why that got the raw end of the stick, because they raised the damage of Silver Wind as well. So that'll be nice. Very, very much needed update to those moves. Also getting a nerf is Quick Attack. That's getting a nerf, or a buff. My goodness, far from a nerf. It's getting a buff. So as of now, Quick Attack is a clone of Wing Attack, which is already a decent move. It's not too bad. But it's now going to be having more energy gain. So I suspect that it's going to go from being a Wing Attack clone, which we see here, which does 5 damage and generates 7 energy. I suspect that they'll raise that from 7 energy gain to 8, which would then make it a clone of moves like Vine Whip. So it's going to, I would imagine, be a Vine Whip clone now, which is nice. So those of us familiar with the energy generation of Vine Whip on Pokemon like Venusaur or Meganium, I believe Quick Attack will now have that sort of dynamic. And they're also buffing Tackle, which I think is much welcome. Tackle was a notoriously awful fast move, so any sort of love that you can give Tackle is always much appreciated. So that's awesome. And now we've got new updates to move pools for various Pokemon. This is by far the biggest and most comprehensive move pool update that I've seen in Pokemon Go Battle League, and it is much welcomed. Some of them are not very consequential, like Nidorina is not all that consequential, Arcanine's not all that consequential. Interesting to see Nidoking get double kick. That'll be very interesting to see. Gives it a lot more play up against Dark and Steel types, of course. But Tentacruel is super exciting. It's now going to have a lower energy cost charge move, that comes in the form of Scald. I think this is much needed and much welcomed. It's going to give Tentacruel a lot more play. It's not just going to be on the fringes anymore. I think you're going to see Tentacruel pop up a lot more in the Great League meta. Having access to Scald. It's no longer going to take you forever and a day to get to Hydro Pump. Having Scald will be very nice for Tentacruel. Much welcomed. They're giving Galarian Rapidash Fairy Wind. I mean, it already had Psycho Cut. Fairy Wind is a clone of Psycho Cut. So, I mean, they're giving these, Pokemon like Arcanine, Galarian Rapidash, Haunter, new moves, but it doesn't change much for them because their stat products are still very much lackluster. You can give a Pokemon new moves all you want, but it does not change their stat products. And some of these Pokemon already don't have very good stat products, so new move updates will not change much for them. But what is changing is Marowak, the original Kanto Marowak, getting access to Rock Slide. This is massive, guys. We got a new player in the meta in the form of Kanto Marowak. This is what this Pokemon has always needed, because before this update, it only had access to ground-type moves. Giving it Rock Slide is massive, guys, because it now has some much-needed coverage on flyers, on ice types. This is massive. This is going to be a game-changer for Marowak. I'm excited to use it in the Great League when we get Season 12 tomorrow. Hitmonlee is getting an update in Double Kick. That'll be nice to see. I don't think it changes a whole lot, but it's definitely a game changer. Hitmonlee, up until now, is basically unplayable. A lot of these Pokemon that were unplayable are now going to see a lot more play. Hitmonlee still going to be on the fringes a little bit, but Double Kick is definitely much needed for that Pokemon. Galarian Weezing, very interesting. This is very interesting. Getting access to Fairy Wind. It's going to be so spammy. This thing has access to Sludge, which is a Mud Bomb clone. So it has a nice bait move, and it does have access to Overheat, I believe, Hyper Beam, just off the top of my head. So this Pokemon's going to be a lot more viable. We did recently have an opportunity to get those out in the wild. I did get one. It's not the greatest, but it'll definitely be good enough to play with. Dragonair is getting Body Slam. This will be a very nice addition to Dragonair's move pool. It already had Aqua Tail, which has the same energy cost of Body Slam. I think this is just going to make Dragonair even more playable. Maybe lift it from the fringes a little bit more, give it a little bit more play. Dragonite getting superpower is massive, guys. This is amazing. Back in the day, they did a Twitter poll to allow us to vote to see, what community moves certain Pokemon should get. And Dragonite was on the docket, and superpower was, it had potential to get it with the poll. It didn't quite come to fruition then, but it's here now, guys. Dragonite now has superpower, and that is much welcomed. It gives it a lot more coverage. It's just going to make this Pokemon even better, guys. Going to be able to do some heavy damage to the very strong Steel and Dark types. Much welcomed addition for Dragonite. Ledian getting Dynamic Punch. This is an improvement. I'm not going to complain too much about that. This is a much needed improvement for Ledian. Much like Dragonite gives it that nice coverage up against Steel types. But where they missed the mark on Ledian is not giving it a decent fast move. This is what this Pokemon really needs, is a nice fast move. So they kind of missed the mark there, but not complaining, having it have a Dynamic Punch. That'll be nice. Another one, much like Marowak, that I was super excited. I'm every bit as excited for Lantern getting Surf. This is amazing. Very similar to Marowak and Tentacruel. More so Tentacruel, because before this update, it only had access to Hydro Pump as its water type stab move. So giving it a lower energy cost water type attack is amazing. Big game changer for Lantern. They're giving Jumpluff Fairy Wind. That'll change things a little bit. Not too much. Espeon, not consequential at all. And Giraffarigs getting a lot of love, most likely for the new Psychic Cup that is coming down the line in Season 12. They're giving it two move updates. They should have done this with a lot of other Pokemon on this list here. Girafarig is the only one that's got buffs to both its fast move and charge moves, so that'll be nice for Girafarig. And now we've got the two Pokemon that we've been always anticipating having roll out, and that comes in the form of Dunsparce and Miltank. This was so anticipated. It's finally here with Season 12. This is super exciting. This is a game changer for both of these Pokemon because they were both just a fast attack away from being viable. Before this update, they were basically unplayable. And now they have rollout, so that's going to shake up the meta quite a bit for both of these two very bulky normal types. Steelix getting Psychic Fangs, that's a little interesting. It's not going to change much for it. Same goes for Mawile and Fairy Wind. It's going to change things a little bit because Mawile is on the squishier side. So having a fast energy gain fast move will be nice for it. Be able to get to those hard-hitting charge attacks that much faster. Manectric getting Psychic Fangs. It'll be nice. It gives it a bait move, but doesn't change a whole lot in terms of shifting the meta. What does is Camerupt getting Incinerate. This is massive, guys. This is so nice because Camerupt has some very nice charge attacks, and having a move like Incinerate is going to make it that much better. We've got a new fire-type player in the meta, so that'll be really nice. Lopunny's getting Double Kick, another one of those Pokemon that was a decent fast attack away from being viable. Lopunny is now playable. Has a great coverage move in Fire Punch and has access to Focus Blast and Hyper Beam. And it has some very nice bulk. It's going to give it sort of a Diggersby type of feel. Of course, it's not as bulky as Diggersby, but it's pretty close. So Lopunny's going to be playable now. Very exciting. Swoobat's getting Psychic Fangs. I don't think that changes a whole lot for it. These two fairies, Florges and Slurpuff, getting Fairy Wind is going to be really nice because Slurpuff having Charm, it was just a little awkward because it struggled to get to its high energy cost fast moves, but with a high energy gain fast move in Fairy Wind, it's going to give it a lot more playability. Incineroar getting Double Kick is going to be massive as well, guys. This is huge. Can you imagine? Because with Incineroar, it was decent with Snarl, but you struggled to farm things down. Having that farm ability is really nice, and being able to boost that higher damage output with Flame Charge is going to give it an even stronger play dynamic. So very nice to see that on Incineroar. Golisopod finally getting Shadow Claw. It's what we've all been wanting, but again, they missed the mark. They didn't give it an updated charge attack. It really needed an update to its charge attacks. So Shadow Claw gives it slightly more playability. They really missed the mark on not giving it a better charge move. But still, very much grateful for getting Shadow Claw. Nihiligo's getting Poison Jab. They should have done that at the very beginning, but they're making up for it in Season 12. And Dubwool, again, another one of those Pokemon that was just a decent fast attack away from being viable. It is now viable, guys. Look out. Has some very nice bulk, has some amazing charge moves. It was really just missing a solid fast attack, and it's got it now, guys. We got another new, very powerful normal type in the meta. And last but certainly not least, the long-distance cousin of Cofagrigus, I guess, in the form of Runerigus, getting some love with Shadow Claw. It is now playable. Very, very much appreciated. It already had decent charge attacks, and Shadow Ball has a nice bait move with Stab, and Sand Tomb giving it Shadow Claw just makes it playable now. So, a lot of massive changes coming as we move into Season 12. This is very exciting. Hats off to Niantic for giving the people what they wanted and needed. things were getting a little stale, and they are now shaking things up, and it is much welcomed. So as we move forward into the season, of course, we're going to be diving deeper. I just wanted to go over these new updates. These are super exciting, much needed changes. The meta is going to shift quite a bit with these new changes, and I could not be more excited. But guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching, and keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.